Titanium has become a bit of a buzzword as of late, even more so since Apple released the iPhone 15 Pro Titanium in 2023, which, by the way, only uses a 1mm titanium coating over a full aluminum chassis, but we're not here to talk about that today. However, the use of element number 22, and that's titanium, in watchmaking dates back over 5 decades ago, by all accounts first attributed to Citizen with the debut of the X-8 Chronometer, which, unlike the iPhone's marginal qualification, used over 99% titanium for its case construction. Titanium, now more than ever, remains an incredibly popular watchmaking element, offering up a character set that's lighter and stronger than conventional stainless steel alloys. Plus, it offers up a higher degree of magnetic resistance and is a degree more biocompatible for anyone with sensitivities to other conventional metals and metal alloys. So, if you couldn't already figure out what we're covering today, we'll lay it out quite plainly. Today, we're walking you through a hand-picked, highly curated roundup of our current favorite titanium watches that use a number of different element number 22 alloys in a number of different and unique ways. So let's dive right in and break down our top picks, beginning with a highly affordable titanium field watch from Bertucci with the A2TS Solar Classic. If you're searching around for an affordable titanium watch, say you have less than $500 to spend, our first pick is for you. As an evolution of Bertucci's very first field watch, the A2T, the more recent evolution, the A2TS, is one of our current favorites that combines rugged, full titanium Bertucci build quality and a convenient solar-powered movement. For just under $300, you're provided with a 40mm fully matted unibody titanium case paired with the Japanese solar-powered movement inside. The A2TS is one of the most value-packed utilitarian budget watches on the market and an excellent choice if grab-and-go reliability and a robust build quality are two of your most important needs. 40mm across the main case, 49.5mm lug-to-lug, and an even 11mm thickness. For a field watch, it does have substantial presence. For example, our wearer maintains a wrist dimension just shy of 8 inches, and the near 50mm lug-to-lug definitely shows its cards even on a larger wrist. Plus, the NATO does increase the overall thickness of 11mm to somewhere between 13 to 15 with the extra fabric between the case and the wrist. Under a flat R-type sapphire, the dial design is quite conservative and quintessentially field watch, with 2 tracks of Arabic numerals spanning 24 hours, an offset date window replacing the 4 matching the position of the crown, a baton-shaped handset with Bertucci's signature shield-shaped seconds counterbalance at the end of the bright red seconds hand, and a generous serving of Swiss loom. The only indication that the A2TS is any different than Bertucci's classic A2T is the bright red smiling solar text, just right of center toward the bottom of the dial, letting us know about the solar-powered Japanese quartz that ticks inside. This particular caliber, once fully charged, and that takes about 5 hours of full direct sunlight, will top off the reserve for roughly 6 months, meaning with regular wear, or honestly even with occasional wear, you'll virtually never run out of power once the reserve is full. Bertucci makes great field watches, clearly, but if you aren't already in the know, they also offer dozens of strap options that you can easily swap in. NATOs of different colors, different patterns, even leather NATOs as well if you'd like to kick it up a notch. Any of the heavy-duty nylon NATOs are great choices for the summer or a traditionally military-inspired look, and this particular variant comes with titanium strap loops finished to perfectly match the main case. Citizen's Promaster line offers excellent value for the price with their full stainless, hyper-built, extremely robust constructions, but as we said in our introduction, they've employed titanium just as long as they have steel. Our second pick, the Citizen Promaster Dive Super Titanium, hovers right around $500, and if you're looking for a seriously dependable diver, this eco-drive-powered 200 meters of water-resistant diver is just all around tough to beat in this tier. Leveling up an already fantastic marine-grade stainless steel watch, Citizen ups the ante with their proprietary take on the element Super Titanium. While titanium generally performs better than stainless steel with most metrics, steel still trumps titanium when it comes to hardness, so Citizen employs Duratech, a surface hardening tech to increase the overall hardness of the surface to 5 times that of stainless models, and we have to point out for a very marginal increase in price. On the wrist, 44mm in diameter and about 12mm thick. With the matching Super Titanium bracelet, it does maintain a sizable presence on the wrist. For example, our wearer has a wrist dimension just shy of 8 inches and it still wears quite large, as you can clearly see. The core DNA of the original Promaster dive certainly shines through, but the Super Titanium pushes the silhouette a little bit more toward a conventional dive watch style. In other words, the bezel here looks far more conventional than the thick, stout units on the base Promaster dives. The style of the lugs are longer and more traditional, and the dial uses a longer handset and more conventional looking marker shapes to house the bright Superluminova. Above the 6, they've added titanium, which is really the only other different dial embellishment other than the refinement of the case shape and the handset and the shape of the markers. While the case material and overall approach received a fair amount of attention, the EcoDrive caliber is a tried and true E168 Citizen solar-powered quartz staple. When the caliber is fully topped off, the cell provides 6 months of power, meaning you could set the watch aside in complete darkness for weeks or months and come back to a handset still ticking away just as you left it with a marginal change in accuracy. Like the main case, we're fans of the super titanium bracelet that carries over the same high polish and brush surfaces, concluding with a fold-over safety clasp with a trio of micro-adjustment slots to dial in the perfect fit. Marking their third horological collaboration with Timex and arguably the best, the James brand's new GMT is a rugged, automatic, four-handed, fully matted titanium timepiece that uses a unique tonneau case shape and the James brand's signature accents of bright green. We're currently smack dab in the middle of summer, and titanium is a great choice for the warm months. You get the benefit of a sleek, all-metal sports watch look with the benefits of ample weight savings on the wrist, 4.2 total ounces with the bracelet, and increased protection against corrosion for any aquatic activities. Plus, the Miyota GMT is a perfect companion for soaring across time zones. 41mm across the case, completely machined from 6AL 4V titanium alloy, and finished with a very fine, very even matted texture, which extends into the matching titanium bracelet as well. Tonneau case shapes often come with shorter vertical dimensions, but in this case it's right around 48 to 49mm, which does extend over the wrist a significant amount. Thickness is moderate, just north of 13mm, and it seems fairly proportionate compared to the width and the height. A slightly domed exhibition case back bearing itself into the wrist just a touch mitigates that dimension ever so slightly. On top of the main case, the Duo has built in a bicolored unidirectional timing bezel. On the side, a screw-down crown affording 200 meters of dependable water resistance, and protecting the dial is a flat sapphire with applications of anti-reflective coating. Opting for just their logo and logo type, Timex and the James brand have kept the dial laid back and minimal, aligning more so with the James brand's preferred clean MO. Markers instead of Arabic numerals keep it clear and easily legible, a clean unframed date window at the 3. We have a similar shaped handset to their previous collaborations with Timex, but this time it comes with an extra bright green hand. Which brings us to the caliber. The automatic Miyota 9075 is a true or traveler's GMT, making it possible to quickly adjust the hour hand to track multiple time zones. It offers really solid mechanics as well, like a 4Hz beat rate for accuracy and a moderate power reserve of about 42 hours when it's fully wound. Within the case back, they built in an exhibition window with the James brand stamp on the sapphire and Timex's finish on the sunbrush rotor. This is also where you'll see the quick release tabs of the full titanium bracelet, making it possible to swap the metal option for an optional isofrane inspired resin strap without the need for any tools. The Hamilton Khaki Field is a modern, military-inspired staple that's just an excellent choice all around, but one with a full titanium build, consider us sold. The sized-up 42mm version of the iconic field watch from the former American watchmaker keeps everything we love about the stainless steel automatic version of the watch, but does so with a fully brushed, highly utilitarian full titanium case and a full titanium 3-link bracelet. The overall approach is more sporty than the heavy, military ethos of the standard mechanical Khaki Field. It uses the dial design of the sportier Khaki Field automatics for starters, but it also sports an incredibly rugged-looking, fully brushed gunmetal finish by way of the titanium alloy of the main case and bracelet, both of which come fully brushed. This particular Khaki Field titanium is 4mm larger than the original mechanical version, sized up from 38 to 42. But there is also a 38mm version available if your wrist maintains a smaller proportion. Our wearer's wrist measures up just shy of 8 inches for context. One thing we will say is that it's typical for these Khaki Fields to wear a bit large on the wrist. Our 42mm version maintains a 52mm lug-to-lug, so it definitely has some sprawl, but some of that is mitigated by how thin the watch is at just 11.2mm, allowing it to hug the wrist to a degree. Under Sapphire, the Khaki Field Auto Titanium uses the same dial as the stainless steel version of the Khaki Field Auto. 2 concentric tracks of 24-hour Arabic numerals, 2 different blues, one shade darker, one shade lighter, far more lume than the classic mechanical Khaki Field, as both the Arabic numerals and the handset house plenty of the material. Inside, Hamilton's H10 automatic provides 80 hours of power when the movement's fully wound and a 3Hz beat rate. It's essentially a modified ETA caliber, quite similar to what Tissot has done with the Powermatic 80, which is to say it's a solid caliber for the price and scores high for reliability. Field watches and fabric NATOs are classic pairings, but that doesn't mean they always have to exist together. The brushed 3-link titanium unit on this watch is tangibly well machined, feels solid yet light on the wrist, and it concludes with a push-button fold-over clasp that provides a trio of micro-adjustment slots to dial in a fit. For our next titanium watch selection, we're sizing down by 1mm, but keeping the military inspiration. And it comes to us by way of an aviation horological heavyweight, Longines. The Longines Avigation BigEye is part of the Heritage Avigation collection, taking cues and style considerations based on the watchmaker's extensive aviation history that spanned the entirety of the 20th century and continues to this day. Plus, for this guide, the BigEye uses a durable titanium case with very traditional, extremely rugged design considerations, with classic pushers at the 2 and 4, excellent use of color between the dial, case, and leather strap, a retro domed crystal, and a 369 sub-register configuration. At 41mm in diameter, 48.7mm lug-to-lug, and 14.5mm thick, including the dome crystal, it does have substantial presence on the wrist, but by way of the titanium case, the total weight stays at just 2.7 ounces. Unlike the Khaki Field Titanium Automatic, the Avigation BigEye employs a mix of finishes for the main case. We do have plenty of brushing, no doubt, but also some high polish on the pushers, the crown, and around the fixed bezel, which does lend it a slightly more premium, albeit still plenty utilitarian feel. You can probably take a solid guess at what the BigEye designation in the name means. I here referring to a subdial, the largest of which is positioned at the 3 and times 30-minute intervals. While this titanium version is a wholly modern issue, the ethos comes from a chronograph unearthed and dated back circa 1930s, which you can clearly tell Longines used as the framework for the BigEye. They do stop short calling it a reissue, but it's damn close. Technically, there was a version released circa 2017 that precedes this titanium version, but seeing as it was stainless steel, we're here to talk only about the latest titanium edition, which uses a brand new blue and black color scheme as well. The BigEye is a column wheel chronograph. As a result, the tactile feel of the pushers are really satisfying to operate. Under the scratch-resistant and anti-reflective coated sapphire, you have a central 60 seconds hand, a 30-minute counter at the 3 as we mentioned, and a 12-hour counter at the 6. These subdials, just like the 30s inspiration, almost sit on top of the Arabic numerals. As you can see, they almost seem to cut off the 2, the 4, and a very small part of the 10. Speaking here aesthetically now, we're enamored with the color of the background. This black-blue fume scheme, as well as the texture, really amps up the toughness of the whole presentation, and we love the use of the almost patina-esque off-white lume applied within the handset and used to set the numerals themselves. Flipping the watch around, Longines unfortunately does not give us a view of the caliber. The automatic L688 column wheel chronograph. Fully self-winding, the tri-compact's caliber beats at a rate of 4 Hz for top-tier accuracy, and it also provides a really solid power reserve of about 66 hours when fully wound. From this view, you also get a look at the size of the leather strap that natively ships with the watch. The 2-piece 20mm unit is predictably premium feeling for the price, with nice stitching accents near the lugs, a color that goes really well with the main case and dial, and it concludes with traditionally designed pinbuckle hardware to keep the watch well planted on the wrist. Next up, Sinn, the storied German watchmaker who provides a number of great full titanium timepieces, and one of our favorites among many within their catalog chock full of aviation-inspired timepieces is the Sinn T50. Now technically, while Sinn, founded by former German pilot Helmut Sinn, solely focused their efforts on aviation and Avigation timepieces, the T50 is part of a modern expansion of the still German-based brand that offers a number of different kinds of watches, and the T50 finds itself as a similarly designed dive watch. This solid titanium diver is still quintessentially Sinn in terms of its aesthetic. Just take a look at the dial and that tells you all you need to know. In other words, remove the logo type and you'd have a fairly easy time still identifying this diver as part of the Sinn lineup. 41mm across the case and even 47mm lug-to-lug and a moderate 12.3mm thickness. For a seemingly chunky looking diver, in hand and more so on wrist, it's definitely not all that prominent in the same way that it appears in photographs. Also abiding by the typical Sinn MO, this full titanium case is matted and the alloy itself is grade 5, which offers superior resistance to corrosion and offers up increased durability as well compared to other titanium watchmaking and EDC alloys like grade 2. Essentially, you can think of the T50 as an evolution of the U-series divers, those watches constructed from submarine-grade stainless steel instead. The T50 is definitively a tool watch, the use of titanium only further supporting its already packed feature set. Sinn designed the T50 with 500 meters of water resistance, which ensures the safety of its construction with any and all dives. Both the U-Series and the T-Series are extremely capable families, but the use of titanium with the T50 allows the wearing weight to stay under 2 total ounces, around 1.8 to be exact. Take for example the U50, and just the main case alone will run you 2.5 ounces. If you add the metal bracelet, you're looking at double the weight, around 5.3 to 5.5 ounces. This is all to say that titanium in this specific case is going to save you quite a lot of weight. If you're a fan of watches with a ghost-like presence on wrist, the T50 will certainly do the trick. Plus, for actual diving, any weight savings is definitely a plus, even if only a few ounces here and there. Inside, Sinn powers the T50 with the Sellita caliber SW300-1, an uber-slim automatic movement. The SW300-1 is Sellita's version of their competitor Ita's 2892-A2. It offers up a feature set that's quite solid with a 4 Hz beat rate and a power reserve when fully wound of about 42 hours. It also amps up the anti-shock and anti-magnetic protection by way of a Nivaflex mainspring and Inca block tech. The T50 comes with a number of strap and bracelet options, just like any other Sinn model. Currently, there are 3 native options that you can choose from. Ours here, the gray rubber version, but there's also a classic H-Link Sinn style bracelet or a 2-piece gray fabric strap as well. Our next titanium watch selection is a high consumption team favorite, the Tudor Pelagos 39. If you are able to expand your budget to around $5,000, the Pelagos 39 is just extremely hard to beat. We also have an entire video review dedicated to the Pelagos 39 if you end up wanting even more information after we take a closer look. Following the release of a 42mm Pelagos, first released circa 2012, the newest Pelagos 39 is a fantastic, full titanium sports diver that maintains everything great about Tudor's recent resurgence. Essentially, they've streamlined the 42, making enough changes to make it feel fresh, sizing it down a few millimeters to accommodate more wrist sizes, and refine the dial in case construction as well. This Pelagos is thin, not quite skin diver thin, but 11.9mm thin, and with the 47mm lug-to-lug, it feels like it really hugs the wrist. Our wearer has a wrist size just under 8 inches for context. On top of the titanium case, Tudor's increased the size of the teeth of the 42's unidirectional timing bezel with the 39, which seems to help with grip, and the appearance of the insert is glossier, with a subtle sunray texture that adds in a more modern character than the 42's all-matted version. It injects just the right amount of personality, which makes it great for an everyday wear piece. Although this is still a very adept diver with 200 meters of water resistance, which will be more than enough for most everyone, Tudor's approach toward the 39 was different than that of the 42. Not any less utilitarian, so to speak, 200 meters is enough for most anyone who casually dives, but somewhat restrained compared to the 42's 500 meters of water resistance. When we got the watch in hand, we were thrilled to see that the Pelagos 39 shares some of the same DNA as the Rolex Submariner 1680s, produced for about 8 years starting in the late 60s. They sell for a pretty penny now, but the red Submariner dial text in the same fashion as the Pelagos 39s on the dial is really dynamic. Though that's pretty much all it does share with the 1680. It was the first Submariner with a date window, which the Pelagos 39 did away with, and it was a touch larger at 40mm, but the red text is a definite nod to Tudor's lasting relationship with its sister brand. Although the exterior is a definite deviation away from the heritage styling of the vintage-inspired Black Bays, the MT5400 powers both the Black Bay 58 and the new Pelagos 39, and it's a powerhouse. The no-date 3-hander is a COSC chronometer certified self-winding mechanical movement made completely in-house by Tudor. It operates at a beat rate of 28,800 bph or 4 Hz, effectively ticks with the aid of 27 joules, and reserves enough power for 3 full days of use between charges, or 70 hours. It has a variable inertia balance and a silicone balance spring, so its durability and magnetic resistance is also quite high. Although you can't see it through the screw-down case back, the movement's also a stunner. Tudor continued the use of the main case's durable alloy with a 3-link 21mm titanium bracelet that shares the same finish as well. It also sports Tudor's proprietary T-Fit quick adjustment system that operates by pushing and pulling the section of the clasp to quickly extend or retract a portion of the bracelet to hone in a fit, eliminating the need for traditional micro-adjustment slots. We're going to shift lanes away from the utilitarian approach of the Pelagos 39 to now highlight an elegant titanium watch from Japan, the Grand Seiko SBGA 211, better known as the Snowflake. With an origin in Japan in 2005 and then officially released worldwide circa 2010, the Snowflake has arguably become one of Grand Seiko's most iconic models, and for us, it does truly epitomize everything great about the watchmaker. We say this because Grand Seiko's approach is undeniable purity, watchmaking stripped down to the essentials with a keen focus on handcrafting each and every timepiece in their catalog with purpose, refinement, and truly remarkable attention to detail. Plus, they've also engineered one of the most exciting advancements in horology, the spring drive movement, but more on that in just a sec. The main case is constructed from titanium, but not just a conventional alloy, but rather Grand Seiko's high-intensity titanium. Its exact mix and formulation is obviously proprietary, but the effect is a level of hardness without any surface coatings much greater than that of conventional marine-grade 316L stainless steel. To the untrained eye, Grand Seiko's watches can look deceiving. The elegance of the machining and fine finishes make it look like a watch that should be babied, and one that couldn't actually be at all utilitarian in any way, as say the Pelagos 39 was created to be. Yet we have titanium. Hell, we have high-intensity titanium. We have 100 meters of water resistance, we have a durable curved sapphire crystal, and what's more, a highly dependable automatic caliber. Under the dual curved crystal, Grand Seiko shows off their mastery of nature-inspired decoration, with a pure white presentation meant to evoke the freshly fallen, lightly windswept snow of Japan's many beautiful winter landscapes and snow-capped peaks, some of which are directly visible from Grand Seiko's state-of-the-art watchmaking facility in Japan. Other than that background, we have a beautiful thermally blued seconds hand, brush markers, and a beautiful Dauphine handset, a framed date window at the 3, and most notably, the power reserve indicator of the spring drive 9R65 we can see through the exhibition window built into the case back. Alright, now before we go into more detail about the caliber, look at the sweep of the seconds. Notice anything? Yeah, that's exactly right. It literally sweeps. It doesn't tick at all. Essentially, it's made possible by a relationship between the mainspring, the gear train, of course, and then a tri-synchro regulator. Essentially, it's quartz-adjacent technology paired with mechanical horology to regulate precise time. Practically, other than that mesmerizing second sweep, you're provided accuracy of plus to minus 1 seconds per day and a 72-hour or 3-day power reserve. Through the caseback, you can also catch a glimpse of the caliber's decoration, Grand Seiko leaving no surface unattended or unadorned without careful consideration. The use of Grand Seiko's high-intensity titanium alloy continues with the 3-link bracelet, which concludes with a fairly standard fold-over clasp. Our unit's clasp does not use any micro-adjustments, but you do have a few half-links to achieve your desired fit. Our next pick is definitely one of the most unique titanium watches in this guide, and in general, and one of the most faithful resurrections of a back catalog piece from a major Swiss heritage watchmaker with a storied history extending back to 1865. Zenith's Defy Revival, this particular version called the Shadow, is our next titanium selection, and it's extremely singular with a bold octagonal case shape and a 14-sided fixed bezel. We'd go so far as to say it's one of the most brutalist watches ever created and offered for sale, even more so with a matted titanium build. In a way, it almost looks like it's made from concrete. This modern edition carries that torch with a similar 300 meters of water resistance, a full titanium microblasted case this time around, the same highly unique ladder style bracelet, and Zenith's own impressive Elite 670 automatic manufacture movement tucked inside. There are a few different Defy revivals that use the octagonal design. The Shadow, though, and its use of titanium, the only one we've chosen to focus on today. Striking design aside, it also maintains a size that will accommodate a lot of wrist sizes with its modest 37mm diameter, staying true to how it was built decades past. Lug to lug stays at just 44mm, and the entire thickness, including the slightly domed crystal, stays around 13.2. The darker color of the matted titanium alloy definitely helps the perceived size on the wrist stay compact. Our wearer has a wrist size just south of 8 inches, and as you can see, this would be an excellent choice for someone with a smaller wrist. This revival is true to its name. Under the dome sapphire, the black set dial is a near carbon copy of what was established with this line in the late 60s. The text, minus the 28800 text above the handset establishing the beat rate of the movement, is exactly as how they laid it out, and the placement of the dial elements like the offset date window between the 4 and the 5's wavy markers, even the shape of the handset and seconds counterbalance has carried over. Be that as it may, the quality of the dial materials and the quality of the finishes make the watch feel modern and fresh. So does the titanium take that encloses them, of course. Zenith is obviously well known, especially in the late 60s, for having crafted the infamous El Primero movement. Although the Defy Revival doesn't use the movement, obviously, we still get the in-house Elite 670 automatic, a seriously solid creation composed of 144 different components that maintains the 4Hz beat rate of the original movement housed in the Defy decades past, and it ships with a solid 50 hours of power reserve when it's fully wound. The original Defy used a bracelet by then manufacturer Freris. What we have now is essentially a one-to-one recreation with an in-house made ladder-style bracelet, which terminates with a fold-over clasp and houses a handful of micro-adjustments to dial in just the right fit. Out of the 23 different variations of our next titanium watch selection, the Omega Seamaster, only 3 are actually titanium. The rest of the family is machined from marine-grade stainless steel. But for a James Bond edition, conventional materials are far too pedestrian for a watch worn by a super spy. The Omega Seamaster 300 007 edition is our next titanium pick, and it's absolutely one handsome piece. No surprises for a watch on the wrist of Bond himself. Omega has only been the latest in a handful of watchmakers to partner with the franchise, officially or unofficially. It was only in 1995 that Omega and 007 decided to partner up, having previously featured Gruen, Breitling, Seiko, Tag Heuer, Tissot, and of course, and most consistently, Rolex. This Bond edition of the classic Omega Seamaster and Fukunaga's No Time to Die is one of the most recognizable models of the 23 variations up for sale on Omega's site. The warm tones across the bezel and the dial, as well as the darker hue of the brushed titanium case, are stark contrasts from the bright steel and traditional vibrant blue shades of ocean blue. Grade 2 titanium is the name of the game for the Super Spy's timepiece of choice, from the main case all the way through to the hammered mesh bracelet. Titanium alloys aren't just lightweight, but chemically inert, as Omega points out, making them excellent choices for the medical industry and aeronautics as well. Aesthetically though, it also maintains a deeper gray than conventional steel, and when it's matted or brushed like we have with the Bond Seamaster, it looks absolutely incredible without the need for any extra finishes on top of the alloy. Alright, now some tech specs. The Bond Seamaster maintains the same 42mm case diameter as other Seamaster 300s, but is all around slightly thinner at 13mm even and sports a sub 50mm 49.6mm lug-to-lug. Under the slightly domed sapphire, the brown dial uses a warm, analogous color scheme of browns, beiges, reds, and of course, plenty of lume. This warm palette truly makes this Seamaster stand out within the larger Seamaster family, most of whom, not all, but most embody brighter forms. To our eye, and Omega seems to agree as they use a photo of Craig in No Time to Die in his tricked out DB5, the dark gray titanium case and the gray car look absolutely perfect together, as if they were made specifically for each other, so major props to the production design team there. Before we talk about Omega's coaxial master chronometer 8806 keeping the watch ticking, there's another little Easter egg on the dial. That arrow above the 6, that signifies that this is a government issue piece of kit, and this specific branch would be none other than MI6. Now, the Omega 8806. Long story short, it's Master Chronometer certified, which means for a self-winding mechanical caliber, it's garnered the highest certification of accuracy in the watchmaking world. Watchmakers like Omega and Tudor, for example, have earned this prestige, but it's rare. Here's the spark notes. First, the movement has to be already certified by the COSC, or Official Swiss Chronometer Testing Institute. Once completed and earned, then the caliber can undergo the 8 stringent tests performed by METIS, Swiss government agency you can more or less call their Federal Institute of Meteorology. The testing not only tests the caliber, but the entire case. Anti-magnetism, gravitational tests, position tests, temperature tests, power reserve testing. It's a really exacting process. And if you're curious about reading about all the tests in detail, Omega has a really excellent page dedicated to all 8 tests of the process, and we definitely recommend the read. In terms of value, for about $10,000, you're not only getting a one-to-one recreation from one of the most iconic franchises in cinematic history, but it's backed by literally top-tier manufacturing and engineering. The 007 Seamaster, titanium construction aside, is just tough to beat. And Bond brings us to the end of our guide of our current favorite titanium watches. As always, thank you for your time and for joining us here today. And we sincerely hope you saw something that caught your eye. Before you go, drop us a line below with your favorite titanium watches. And as always, make sure to head over to HICONSUMPTION.com as well for even more great titanium watch coverage.